I know I wrote a book, right? It's called Buy a Game and it's free. Click the link down there, you got it.
DreAllday.com.
What's going on, everybody? Dre Baldwin, DreAllday.com. This week's motivation, we're talking about balance. People often ask me about balance. They say, Dre, I'm working on my game so much, or I'm trying to build my business, or I'm in college and I'm taking a heavy course load, but I still got my kids, I still got my friends, I still have my social life, I still got my boyfriend or my girlfriend, I still got XYZ, whatever it is you have going on. None of us just does one thing all day, all night. None of us is just with our kids all day. Maybe some of you are, but a lot of us, we go to work, we go to school, you run a business, maybe you play a sport, maybe you're trying to take up some new pastime on the side and maybe make it into a business. We all have multiple things that we're interested in and multiple things that we like to do. So people ask me about balance. Dre, how do I balance playing basketball in school and actually making sure my grades are good? How do I balance focusing on building my business but making sure I have a solid home life or a solid social life? I don't lose all of my friends, or I can still go out and date so I can have a mate, a partner, or something like that. How do I find balance, Dre? Where do I get this balance from? Let me tell you something right off the top here. There is no balance. All right, now that we got that out the way, I'm going to explain what I mean. There is no balance. We don't want balance, because think about it. Someone asked about a work-life balance. People ask me that sometimes, like, Dre, you seem like you're always working, you're always grinding, hustling, doing this and that. How do you find a work-life balance? How do you know how much time to work and how much time to spend just relaxing or spending time with friends or doing something that's not work-related? How do you balance the two? You don't balance the two. Because let me give you a simple illustration of what this means. Let's say you want to balance basketball and school, or you want to balance home life and running your business. Whatever it is you want to balance, anything, any two things you're trying to balance, or 3 or 10. If you do 50% basketball, 50% school, you're going to fail at both. All y'all been in school, right? You get a 50 on the test. What grade is that? That's an F. 50 is not a C. A 50 is an F. Okay, so if you're 50% in school, you're not going to graduate from school. You're 50% in basketball, you're not going to be too good at basketball. You need to be 100% on both. 100% in school, 100% in basketball. So it's not about you balancing the two out. What it is about is you prioritizing the two. What do I need to prioritize right now? School time is from this time to this time. Basketball practice from this time to this time. I have discretionary time where I can do what I want between here and here, also here and here and here and here. All you got to do is prioritize what you need to get done. You need to study for a test? Prioritize that. You need to work on your game for an hour? Prioritize that. You got a signature manual. You don't know the signature manuals there at hoophandbook.com. You got a signature manual. You need to put in some work on your game so that you can develop your crossover before tryouts in 2 months. Prioritize that. So it's not about you balancing anything. I don't ever tell people how to balance work and life, or balance a sport in school, or balance friends and work. No, you don't balance any of that stuff. You want to do all of those things to the fullest. Why would you want to be halfway with your family? You don't want to be 50% with your family. You don't want to be 50% in school. You're not going to pass. You want to be 50% playing baseball or swimming or playing basketball. You don't want to give 50% effort to your business or to your job. You're going to get fired, or you're going to go out of business. None of those work. You can't put 50% of yourself into anything and do it successfully. So what you need to get clear on is that there is no work-life balance. So get that phrase out of your mind. I got a course, 30-day course. It's called 25 hours. You want to learn how to control your time, not manage your time, but control your time. Go to workonyourgameu.com/time, T-I-M-E, so you can learn how to dominate your time. If you dominate your time, you can dominate your life. So this is a life control and time control course, not management, control. workonyourgameu.com/time. But the overall point that I want you to get here from this weekly motivation, overall point here is that it's not about you balancing anything. Balance is for people who want to go halfway in both. And anyone who goes halfway in something is not going to get too much of a result. I don't care how talented you are, how many resources you got, how many people trying to help you out, how much time you have on your hands. Giving 50% to anything, you're not going to be too great at it. But you can be excellent at anything you put 100% of yourself into, because we all have capabilities that we rarely tap into because we don't put ourselves 100%. Even if you never even thought about this, you're playing ball and you're doing school and you're like, all right, I got to make sure I don't play too much ball because I'm going to forget about school. Or I'm going to make sure I don't focus so much on school that I forget about my basketball and not have my game in the right space. So even mentally, you're trying to balance the two. That doesn't work. You can't mentally balance two. You can't focus on two things at the same time, people. The human brain can only focus on one thing at a time. So whenever you think you're multitasking, you're actually not. You're focusing on this for 10 seconds, then this for 30 seconds, then that for 15, then that for 20 seconds. You're not actually focusing on all of them at once. You're just quickly shifting your focus from one thing to another, but it takes a certain amount of time, dedicated time, uninterrupted, to get into focus mode, true focus in the human brain. This is some scientific stuff. You can look this up, watch it on some TED Talks. It takes a certain amount of time to get truly focused on anything. So when you're talking this work-life balance thing, if you don't focus enough on anything for a long enough period of time, how could you ever get deeply enough into it to really give your best and really get your best possible result? You can't. But if you've been spending the last 5 years trying to find work-life balance or school sports balance or whatever it is you're trying to balance, you haven't gotten into deep focus yet, which means you are far from the peak of where you could be in your work, in your family, in your social life, with your kids, in your sport, running your business. Because you've been trying to balance things mentally, if not physically. So understand here, what you're gonna take from this week's motivation is this: you're not trying to balance anything anymore. You want to go all in on everything that's important to you. Everything that's important to you in life, you're going to go all in. You're going to lay out your calendar, and you're going to get clear on where you can focus each day at each time slot, so you can go all in on these things. You can be 100% in everything you're doing. And again, workonyourgameu.com/time. That is my 25 hours life and time control course, 30-day course. You need it in your life. Work on your game. DreAllday.com.